Well, I'll tell you, Grose, I am not surprised at the outcome, but I'm definitely surprised by the margin of the outcome.
It was over for everyone.
It was over after about 7 polls yesterday. It's like, all right, shut the computer down, wait for the acceptance speech in a few hours.
Well, it's a funny thing. I fired up the computer, I put on 6:30 CHED, and I saw the results of 5 polls and went, oh my God, it's an Iveson landslide. My wife was like, do you understand stats? And I was like, actually, yes.
It trended very well very early for Don Iveson. The lead kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And it was indeed Iveson in a landslide, as he's been kind enough to join us in studio this morning after, I don't know, a couple hours of sleep, Don, if sleep at all.
Well, yeah, there was lying in bed, thinking about all the work that we have to do now, and all the people I have to say thank you to. And I did manage to eventually pass out for a couple of hours, but yeah, then was up and at it for media interviews this morning.
Now, as you're going along the whole way, you start with a very clear direction about the message you want to communicate. And I know that the polling all along was showing very, very well for you. But until it actually comes across the finish line, like, was there a moment in the last week or couple of weeks where you were thinking, well, I'm probably going to be mayor? Or does that just not dawn on you until the campaign stops and the votes come in and now you're mayor?
We always worked really hard, and now in 3 campaigns in a row, never to take anything for granted. And I said to you the other day, we don't rag the puck.
Yeah.
And we didn't. Right up to the very end, you know, the art director on the campaign, who's a volunteer, and you know, a very, very talented designer and creative guy at one of the firms in town here. You know, we were driving to the hotel yesterday, and there he was on the corner of Jasper and 103rd, handing out reminders for people to vote, wearing a green T-shirt. And so, you know, nobody leaned back, even the people who were doing the design work and some of the great creative work behind the campaign. You know, they were on street corners for me yesterday, so we didn't take anything for granted right up to the end. So no, there was no moment where we said, yeah, this is going to happen. It was not until about 9 last night that it became real.
Now, you know, when you're putting together a successful campaign like you did, one of the key ingredients could have been, but apparently wasn't, voter turnout. Given that there was going to be a new mayor, given that there was so much turnover in on the council, are you surprised that there wasn't a greater voter turnout?
Well, turnout was up a little bit over last election, and last election was a hard-fought campaign, up from the one before too. So even though it's modest increase in numbers, at least it didn't go back down. So we've still got a ton of work to do to get more Edmontonians directly engaged in local government, and there's a lot of work that we're doing, actually starting with kids in grade 6 classrooms. And some of the early poll results that really gave me a smile yesterday was when all these grade 6 teachers started tweeting their results of their early polls in their classes, and we were winning those, you know, 60, 70, 80%, 90%, and I thought, okay, well, my chances would be good in 8 years then when these kids turn 18. But
so now you'd be 3-term.
now, one election at a time.
Put this in perspective for me. You're up at the your campaign headquarters, or your party's at the Matrix. You're upstairs, I assume, in a room somewhere, watching results on television or listening to it on radio. What's the feeling? I mean, is it like winning a Stanley Cup? Is it like when your team wins a Stanley? I mean, what does it feel like when you realize, oh my gosh, this is going to happen?
Well, I've never personally won a Stanley Cup.
And you live in Edmonton, so
yeah. And I'll be 36 by the time this year is over, so it's probably, and my ankles are pretty weak, so I don't think I'm going to ever win a Stanley Cup. This will do, though. This is good. It felt pretty magical to know that I had such strong support out there, but I was just as interested in the results that were coming in on the council races, actually, and that's why I reached out to a couple of councillors this morning, some new ones and some returning ones, and my good friend Amarjeet Sohi's with us in the studio this morning, and so I was happy with my result, but the mayor, you know, Mayor Mandel's drilled into us, and he's absolutely right. You're just one vote on council. You need to have a great group of people, a thoughtful and diverse group of people to work with, and we have some challenges with diversity on council, particularly around gender. I'm disappointed with the gender imbalance on our council, but notwithstanding that, we have, I think, a very thoughtful and forward-looking group of people elected, including Emerjeet, who I congratulate right here. I'm really excited to get to keep working with him. We've been together for 6 years since we both got elected in 2007. So I mean, I was excited about the results, but I was watching the council results just as closely, and was thrilled to see so many strong people get elected.